Imagine the astonished expression on Catherine's face, as if she had just witnessed the arrival of an alien. She gazed intently at the two of them, her heart filled with doubts. Could it be that that little boy was actually her father? "I'm his dad, he's my bro," George explained, and Katherine felt like a riddle with no answer. "We're an American family." When they exchanged names, George was stunned, because he'd just met the owner of this bookstore. But when George said his name, the atmosphere turned awkward, like they were playing a secret identity crisis game. Despite George's caution, surprises always lurk. When Katherine started ranting about the new bookstore opening, George's acting skills saved the day. F-O-X sounds like fox, a perfect pun, and Katherine didn't even catch on. To conceal his identity, George swiftly picked up a comic in the manner of a secret agent, cleverly capturing his little brother's attention, and then leading them to make a rapid and hasty retreat from the scene. He reminded his little bro to keep quiet, unaware of their identity complex like cells under a microscope. Katherine enthusiastically pitched her bookstore, and George was practically starstruck, like a fanboy. But when she heard the books were priced at $7 billion, the room gasped. She thought, "Are they made of gold?" It got even more awkward when Katherine vented about her bookstore, and she could only eat popcorn silently, completely speechless. Just as she was about to leave, Katherine's laughter was like a sonar pang, making her pause. Meanwhile, George's hidden plan loomed like the shadow of an apocalypse, targeting her bookstore. The grand opening of Fox Bookstore was like welcoming astronauts back to Earth, with decor and service shining bright. All kinds of amazing discounts drew in crowds like kids craving candy, and readers loved it more than anything. On the other hand, Katherine's little bookstore faced an unprecedented blow. Sales nosedived, and employees were starting to panic about their future. Katherine believed this was just a temporary dip. Sunshine would come after the rain, even if she felt uneasy inside. Yet this sudden quiet gave the employees unease. A friend suggested making news noise about it, like prepping for a battle, but kind-hearted she was reluctant to take such drastic measures until that party day, which struck her like lightning. She was furious that the man not only disrupted her business, but also deliberately brought his child into the store to inquire, a behavior that made Katherine boil with rage and feel extremely angered. Faced with Katherine's angry words, George was unfazed and kept scooping caviar like it was candy. Katherine fumed, but George not only didn't stop, he had the audacity to take the remaining caviar. The final straw for Katherine was when George bluntly and unsparingly mocked her bookstore, as if directly criticizing her birthday cake. This filled her with unprecedented anger and humiliation, yet they didn't realize they were the stars of each other's social circles. Differences led them to become soulmates online, as if destiny was meddling behind the scenes. Late at night, George reflected on his argument with Katherine, waves of regret a real headache. He opened his computer again, trying to connect with online friends, tossing aside his arrogance. Thus, in his heart, the arrogant attitude was slowly transmitted to his friends as if he was sharing in a trance. But he didn't know it was Katherine. She admired George's bluntness. In her world, peace and compromise were the norm, while George's boldness was just the spark she craved. Next, George shared his views openly, like a travel guide giving Katherine tips. Little did he know the enemies Katherine spoke of were actually himself. In the days to come, they lurked in coffee shops, dodging each other like a game of cat and mouse. They plotted their supermarket routes in advance, afraid of bumping into each other. What a real-life glamorous adventure. Yet life is always full of uncertainty. Even with utmost care, misfortune follows closely behind. Katherine thought she had evaded George, but while checking out, she accidentally found herself in the cash line so awkward she wished for a wormhole. No matter how much she begged the cashier, rules hit her like a brick wall, unforgiving. Soon, she became the target of everyone's anger, practically the punchline of the night. Just then, George unknowingly appeared by her side, effortlessly diffusing the crowd's anger like a superhero. With skillful flattery, George successfully persuaded the cashier, granting Katherine access to the VIP lane. Thus, the impending crisis was easily handled by George, and Katherine felt immense gratitude bubble up inside her. But fate always seems to be dramatic. Even though George saved Katherine, her bookstore was still in the chopping block. Even though Katherine's bookstore had a makeover for Thanksgiving, business didn't improve one bit. Without a deal for her friend's book release, Katherine felt her spirits plummet, like her heart was crushed under the bookstore's low prices. After a series of blows, her emotions felt like a bottomless pit impossible to escape. Even in the lively holiday atmosphere, her heart felt clouded and heavy with a sorrowful melody. Even the melodies in her heart became awful. Just when she felt helpless and lost, her deceased mother's image popped up like a haunting ghost. To ease the indescribable gloom, she lightened her heart, conveying nostalgia and stress to friends in writing. She thought her friends were too busy celebrating to pay attention to her messages, but strangely enough, they were eagerly waiting for her updates, like anticipating the sequel to an annual horror blockbuster.